Hey guys, Nick Johnson. Today we're talking about the 5 considerations to think about before taking a severance from Shell. First off, can you retire? If you're financially independent and you're working because you enjoy it and you get offered a severance, it's a no-brainer. Often a lot of people in that situation raise their hand, take the severance, and they're overall pretty happy. The question is, what if you can't retire or you don't know if you can? First off, it's important to understand how does the standard Shell severance work. The Shell severance, you get 3 weeks of pay for every year of service, up to 78 weeks of pay. If you've been at Shell long enough, they'll actually split up the severance into 2 equal payments. One you'll receive the year you retire, and one you receive the year after you retire. If you're on the edge of hitting a major milestone, they'll actually bridge you and keep you on the payroll a little bit longer so you can hit that major pension. One of the other things to think about is medical. As you're trying to decide, are you able to retire? Can you retire? You've got to figure out, how are your medical costs going to get covered? How are your medical premiums going to get covered up until you turn 65 and start Medicare? Well, you've really got 3 options when you retire from Shell. Shell's group medical coverage, if you retire before the age of 65. Medicare supplemental coverage plus Shell's Medicare secondary coverage if you retire after the age of 65 and you're immediate pension eligible, or COBRA if you're not eligible for either of the above. Let's talk through this. If you do not have immediate pension eligibility, and oftentimes we think about this as 80 points, right? So if you don't have your 80 points or you don't have immediate pension eligibility, which is 80 points or 70 points plus being severed, you have an option of going on to COBRA. If you take COBRA, you essentially continue the Shell healthcare the same as you have it today for up to 18 months, and Shell will pay the first 4 months of premium for medical only. Most people select this as an option because you get 4 free months of Shell, and they continue what they're already familiar with. You can keep COBRA for the dental and the vision plan, but Shell doesn't contribute any money towards the premiums there. If you are getting severed with 70 points, or you have 80 points, immediate pension eligibility, you have the option of COBRA, of course, or you can go on to Shell's post-retirement group healthcare plan. Essentially, it's the same healthcare you get while you're working, except now you're retired. The proportion of premium split between you and Shell changes based on the number of years you've had at Shell. If you've been at Shell for over 30 years, Shell will continue paying 80% of the premiums, and you will continue paying 20% of the premiums. If you've been at Shell less than 30 years, the split changes. One of the other things that we always educate people to think about is to make sure to max out benefits before you leave. Oftentimes, we're trying to get people to max out the Provident Fund, the pre-tax, the Roth, and the after-tax contributions in a shortened year. If you think about it, the most Shell will put into the Provident Fund in a year for 2024 is $34,500. You can put in $30,500 if you're over the age of 50, and an additional $11,500 after tax. A lot of people make the 401k contributions to the Provident Fund throughout the whole tax year, right? So throughout all of 2024. But if you're leaving Shell at the end of April, at the end of May, we've got to accelerate contributions, dramatically increase the percentage of your paycheck that is going to the 401k so we can max it out before you leave. And just like we want to max out the Provident Fund, you want to take a look at the GSIP, the General Employee Stock Purchase Plan. Fabulous plan, right? You get to buy stock at the lesser of 2 historical price points, plus you get a 15% discount. It's hard to lose money on this plan. So if you're leaving at the end of April or May, you want to log online and you want to make sure you accelerate contributions to your GSIP so that you max it out prior to you leaving so you don't leave money on the table. Another consideration you want to take advantage of is the Shell Learning Account. With a Shell Learning Account, you can use it for professional development, education, conferences, personal financial planning, sports and hobbies. So you get $2,000 you can use that Shell reimbursed you for prior to retirement and $1,000 after retirement. make sure you use your $2,000 Shell learning credit prior to your final date at Shell. And of course, taxes. If we're not thinking about taxes, we're leaving money on the table. For a lot of people, their working years up to retirement and the year, and sometimes the year after retirement, are your highest income tax years. And then there's not a lot of income up until Social Security and pension and eventually RMDs start. So one of the things we want to be thinking about is how we make this more tax efficient. Where can we be getting deductions right now? Max out the Provident Fund. What can we be doing in our low income tax years to pull income forward? So when we're in low tax brackets, that we're utilizing up those low tax brackets and we're not left in really high tax brackets and high taxable income in our 70s and 80s once RMDs have started. So it's really important, if you're leaving Shell, to think long term, that we're plotting out your lifetime tax situation and optimizing that for you over time. If you like the content today, make sure you subscribe and follow us. We're regularly putting material out for Shell employees and retirees so you understand what benefits are available to you and you don't leave money on the table. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook for more information, or check out our webinar on what Shell retirees need to know in optimizing their retirement in the description below for more.